legacy of last 58 years, ranks amongst top 12 B schools in Mumbai and 74th in top 100 pan India. Awarded as Best Management School in Maharashtra for placement 2021. Best B School awarded for innovation in teaching pedagogy by 13th World Education Summit. We at Women Development Cell in Vivekanand aim to create a developed and congenial environment for women employees and students by allowing them to reach their full potential. We undertake the awareness program on gender sensitization, women's rights, and women empowerment in our institute. Our objective is to sensitize the students towards the special needs of all genders by building a gender
शेड्यूल नाही
sensitive
दिसते
and
का पण आता
inclusive campus. This is primarily done through discussion, talks, blog writing competition at various levels.
ठीक आहे
Now I'd
चालेल
like to welcome
तेच सगळं बघत
Director
होते
of
झालंय
WESL,
का
Dr.
माझं
Satish
ठीक
Mehta.
आहे
He
डन
is
केली
particularly well
फेस
known
केली
for his research on Indian value system and its application
नाही
in
नाही
ethical management. He has been teaching ethics and business ethics in his long career, and he has had a distinguished and long career with Air India. Professor Mode was given Devang Mehta Award for outstanding contribution to education in 2014. He was named among top 100 most influential directors in India at the World Education Congress 2016, held in Mumbai. I request Dr. Satish Mode to say a few words.
Thank you, Bhakti, for a nice introduction. Today's session of Women Development Cell, and we have all eminent speakers. I know Dr. Harish Shetty for a long time, more than 20-25 years. My association with him actually, I think, began when the Gujarat earthquake was there, and there are a lot of psychological issues were there about the disaster affected persons, and he did a lot of work. And since then, I have been following his career, and I know that he is always available to contribute to the society. So this is a really a good team where our students and faculty members will get some insight into how our mind functions. We have gone through this COVID last 24 months now nearly, and the mind is the one which is the biggest casualty, because once the life regular life is disturbed, the mind is the casualty. And when we look at this, a lot of people had panic attacks, anxieties, depression during this period. And I am aware that Dr. Harish Shetty has played a very big role in treating such patients. And why mind is very important in our existence and our development. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita in chapter 10, Shloka 22, where he is talking about his Vibhuti, that chapter is called Vibhuti Yoga. So he is saying that where all he exists. So he says Indriya, so which are there is Krishna, God. Such is the importance. He is not talking about that his intellect or Atma. He is not saying all that. He is saying because the mind controls the person. Actually, in another shloka, Krishna says that your body is very powerful, but it is dominated by Indriya. And your Indriyas are dominated by Mana. And Man is dominated by intellect. And intellect's superior is soul. But here, mind is in between. So when mind is properly calm and everything is happening correctly, so then you become sthita prajna. But when mind is not in control, what happens to Arjuna in chapter 1 happens to all of us. And it can also happen to women, where Krishna says again in Vibhuti Yoga that I am Kirti Shri Vak Narinam Smriti Medha Dhriti Kshama. Qualities which people and we are great achievers. Krishna says that this Kirti Shri uh, wealth, voice, normal in every woman, and he says, "I am that." These are the external expressions of women, and Smriti, Medha, Dhriti, Kshama. These are the internal qualities that which we want to develop in everyone. So women already possess these qualities. Only thing we have to make them aware of this and say that yes, men has to develop oneself to develop these qualities, but women are already born with these qualities. So in fact, rather than women development cell, we should have sessions on men development cell, that we have to develop these qualities. But I am sure that in this session all these issues will be brought out uh, by all the speakers, and I welcome all the speakers, Harish ji, Shubha, and Shiksha, everyone. If I have left out anyone, please excuse me. But I am sure that this session is going to be very, very exciting. Welcome to you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Satish sir. We welcome you. Further, I'd like to introduce Dr. Sachandesh Mehta, Director of VBS and also Professor of Marketing Analytics, Data Analytics and Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning. He is trained on Python and SAS platform and possesses skills in machine learning and data visualization. Dr. Sachin Deshmukh is currently working on students on various data analytics projects and drone technology. He is also guiding students on startup ideas and instrumental in rolling out startups in the field of data analytics and artificial intelligence. I'd like to invite Dr. Sachin Deshmukh to say a few words.
Yeah, thank you, Bhakti. Good morning to all of you. I think mental health of students or the children of this country is not an issue that should be, discussed on a particular day. Sorry. In fact, this should be a continuous process so that we can pull out our children and our students, out of these problems. Now, since I'm working with numbers day and night, I have some statistics collected for you all. Like Mozart said, in the recent wake of the pandemic, the World Health Organization states that India is the most depressed country in the world. 1 in 6 children and teenagers aged between 10 and 19 years of age suffer from depression. As we speak here, there is one suicide attempt every 3 seconds and one death by suicide every 40 seconds by our youth, which is, staggering. These statistics, sorry, these statistics alone are alarming enough to take fact that mental health among students is going to be the next crisis. Most teenagers and adolescents have expressed feeling detached, lonely, and extremely bored, which creates a lot of frustration. Added to this, I think there is a sense of social detachment and a loss of social skills, group dynamics, and relationship. So even though the country was in a lockdown for a very long period, and the entire education sector shifted from offline to online lectures, um, no doubt we were able to kill that time, overcome the problem of completing our curriculums. But on the other hand, this online learning or online teaching has created a hell of a problems for our students and children. There are many children who have turned towards the virtual world and virtual reality in creating friendships and interacting with others. What I feel is this excessive online presence or screen time itself is creating mood swings, irritability, social withdrawal, changes in sleeping and eating patterns, a difficulty with attention, focus, and concentration, and also further detachment from family or the real world. Now, let me tell my own experience while taking lectures online. I think most of the students, felt really bored to attend lectures online, and I found that most of the time, they connected to the classroom, but they were not physically present to listen to the lectures. Maybe because of all these problems. Even families at home are going through severe stress with conflicts, job stressors, financial problems, parental conflicts, and even abusive relationships. These kind of stressors and abuse also greatly increase the risk for emotional and psychological setbacks in our children. Parents working from home and students online education make the whole work-life balance environment stressful at home. Now, as mental health professionals will be speaking on today, I feel that they will come out with some better solutions and shall help our children and students to to bring out of this problem. So, with this, best of luck from my side to all the speakers and to all the listeners. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sachin sir. We welcome you. Further, I'd like to welcome Dr. Anupala Tiwari, ma'am. She has experience of more than 13 years of rich experience in some of the leading business schools at both graduate and postgraduate level. Associate Professor and heading Operations Department as Associate Dean, Operations Chairperson WDC Committee, Internal Complaint Committee for Girls and Students of Organizations Committee, and seminars to empower them with all known and how. I'd like to invite Anupama ma'am to say a few words.
Thank you, Bhakti. I want to thank all my panelists who have accepted the invitation and have chaired this session. I hope with their inputs and insight, we all will learn and have many things to take away. So, without taking much time, I want you to continue the session. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Anupama ma'am. We welcome you. Further, I'd like to welcome Dr. Bhavna Raina ma'am. Bhavna Raina ma'am is a HR professional with 15 years of industry and academic experience. She has completed her doctorate in management from Mumbai University. She is certified from Harvard Business School, Core and Fundamentals of Business. She is a BEI, PPA, and POSH certified practitioner. She is a chairperson WDC at Wesson. Now, going on to the panel discussion, our eminent guest speakers for today are Dr. Harish Shetty, sir, one of the most eminent speakers and renowned psychiatrist. Dr. Harish Shetty, sir, with extensive experience in the field of mental health, especially in connection with disasters. He has worked at Latur in 1992 and 1993 for a year at Kandla. After the cyclone for a year, evaluated the psychosocial processes at Jabalpur and Gujarat after the earthquake for a human rights group and also worked at Gujarat after the last riots for 6 months. This was the invitation of Amritaben Patel, then head of NDDB. Dr. Harish Shetty sir has worked extensively with youth and works with an educational institution every week. He has also provided mental health intervention to seafarers after their release from clutches of Somalian pirates. He is a governing body of the NTA appointed by the Government of India. We welcome you, sir. Next is Ms. Asira Chirmuli, Director of Atha Center for Psychotherapy and Training. She is a supervisor and associate fellow of Rational Emotive and Cognitive Behavior Therapy from Albert Ellis Institute of New York, Training Faculty Level 2. She has completed her master's in clinical psychology from SNDT University, Mumbai. She has received training in CBT from Beck Institute of Cognitive Behavior Therapy, USA. She is also certified Gottman Leader and an international affiliate member of the Distinguished American Psychological Association. Atha Center of Psychotherapy and Training is a specialized training and consultancy center addressing mental health and well-being since 2016. We welcome you, ma'am. Next guest for the session is Dr. Shubha Raina, ma'am, speaker and moderator of the session. Dr. Shubha Raina, ma'am, is a psychologist and human resource professional with diverse experience of more than 17 years in the corporate world and in the NGO sector. Dr. Raina has worked through her PhD at All India Institute of Medical Sciences as a researcher post her doctorate. She worked with HelpAge India, a national level NGO representing the cause of older people in India. Here she advocated the organization's agenda with the Government of India and international organizations. She spearheaded some key research projects of national importance for UN, WHO, and World Bank at the National Human Rights Commission. She was also awarded with the prestigious Leslie Kirkley Fellowship at the Oxford University, UK. Her corporate experience in human resources include working with Marico's Kaya Limited and Godrej Properties Limited. She is also a POSH specialist and have been handling employee grievances and managing difficult conversations very effectively. We welcome you, ma'am. I'd like to request Dr. Raina, ma'am, to start the panel discussion.
Thank you so much, Bhakti. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this session of Cardinal Concern, especially with reference to the last couple of years. Thank you, Vivekananda Educational Society, Dr. Satish Mehta, and Dr. Sachin Deshmukh for your insightful talk, and the entire team, Dr. Anupama Tiwari, Dr. Bhavna Raina, and their wonderful students for recognizing the significance of this topic and organizing this discussion. I'm joined here by a very distinguished panel who have just been introduced. In the next 70 minutes, I'm hoping to have a very fruitful discussion on the topic. We've received quite a few questions on the topic beforehand, which will be answered during the course of this discussion. If you have any questions, please type them in the chat box. If you would like a particular panelist to answer these questions, please address the questions to them so that they can pick up the question. We will take up your questions towards the last part of the session. Request you all to also keep your systems on mute so that the session can proceed with minimum interruptions. Dr. Harish Shetty, Ms. Asira Chirmule, welcome. Statistics on mental health, which were just highlighted by Dr. Sachandesh Mehta a while back. A Google search on mental health springs out results to a tune of 93 crores. And if you type mental health, you get about 90 crore, 30 lakh responses. So there is so much that's been written on the topic. Yet we call it a silent pandemic since no one wishes to talk about it. So let's begin with the very, very basic. My question to you first, Dr. Shetty, is what does mental health actually mean from a scientific perspective? I would then move on to Ms. Chirmulay and request her and ask her what it means for individuals like you and me. Dr. Shetty,
you're asking a very difficult question. I will ask Asira to answer that.
Asira will answer that on more on the community perspective.
So mental health is basically mental hygiene, emotional hygiene. All in the day get up in the morning, eat, and do a lot of other things and go to our work or to our college. At that point of time, we also pray to God. Many of us pray to God. Many of us do yoga and exercise, etc. So bringing the focus back to emotional hygiene would be being aware of your thoughts, feelings, sensations, and your behavior. Awareness would only mean that collectively the society should be discussing about feelings. What do we do when we get angry? What do we do when we are sad? How do we promote our positive mental health? What do we do when we are very jealous? Because one student whom I taught all night last day, all day, scored more than me. What do I do when a girl says my boyfriend has been snatched by my best friend? So also anger, a lot of anger. And as Professor Satish Mehta and Professor Deshmukh just emphasized, that pandemic is silent. We need to make it visible. So mental health is about taking care of oneself and being in balance with people around reasonably, being able to function, being able to love, being able to be friendly, not being very ideal, but that's okay. You may have anxiety, but you may still be mentally healthy because you know you have anxiety and you take care of it. You may have mood problems, disappointments in the day, upsets, perfectly normal. So emotions are like basically like the ragas of Hindi classical music, going up, going down, going up, going down. If you're not ashamed to laugh, not ashamed to cry, you're not ashamed to share your feelings, you're not ashamed to share your thoughts, and find answers to it across the day, that is good mental health. Good mental is also about I am not ashamed of what I am. I am reasonably comfortable with what I am and who I am, and I gradually help myself to be more comfortable as days pass. And lastly, if I am in crisis, I will not believe that I have a strong mind. Strong minds have open doors. I will go to my faculty teacher. I will go to my faculty psychologist in my college. And I will shout and say, I need help. And that's good mental.
Asira, may I request you to take this on further?
Sure, I think Sir very beautifully, metaphorically. I just love his metaphors. He makes mental health so simplistic. And definitely being on this platform with her, I am really honored. And he's been a mentor to all of us. So I really like what Sir said with reference to emotional hygiene. I think that is what mental health is. So if you ask me also, I would say mental health is a life skill. We have to, it is something which we should base our life on, right? In the very beginning, Satish sir was talking about references to Bhagavad Gita and how it emphasizes on mind. For me, if you ask me, my interpretation of mental health is mind management. Today we have so many managements: time management, personality management, how you look management, like soft skills management. But are we really paying attention to mind, which is behind everything? So whenever I'm looking at any life experience, who is guiding? My mind. My thoughts guide me to look at those experiences, right? My interpretations lead the way. So you cannot change probably what happens to you in life, sadly, but you can direct the pattern of your thinking. So mind management is an emotional skill, it's a life skill. We need to start it from very early. If you say from school itself, this should be encouraged, that how to manage your mind, and then all the other things can fall into place. Sadly, what happens today is we focus so much on other things, but we are not really looking at mind management, caring for our mind, and most importantly, handling thoughts. Something guides us behind the experience, behind any adversity, is the thought that you carry. So do we nurture those thoughts? What kind of thoughts do we nurture? What is the quality of our thoughts? What's the texture? That's what we have to look at today. So taking the point from what Sir said, emotional hygiene, I would add, which focuses on mind management.
Right. Very, very beautifully put. It's all about mind management. So, uh, research does suggest that a lot of mental distress, as we are taking this topic on students, a lot of mental distress is experienced by children aged between 15 to 29 years of age. This is also a period of major physical, physiological, psychological, and behavioral changes with changing patterns of social interactions and relationships. This is also the time when children are deciding on a career or have just entered one. So the statistics on depression, anxiety, suicides that Dr. Sachandesh Mehta mentioned a while back are quite daunting and demoralizing. So, when we're not feeling well, headaches, tummy ache, ear infection, we talk about it to others, we take a day off, and if required, we even visit a doctor. However, when our minds are not at rest, we do not talk about it to anyone. Even dismiss it as I'm not in a good mood today and probably suffer in silence. So, Asira, I will pose this question on again to you. Um, while we did talk about mental hygiene, what, in your perspective, are the symptoms which would indicate that all is not well and it is time to seek professional help?
This is for me or Sir?
Yes, Asira, for you.
So it's actually very complicated to make it very simplified. The symptoms, because there are many symptoms. Okay, but I think what we need to consider, the basic symptoms is your sleep. So you need to see and observe what is your sleep cycle, the quality of your sleep, because that really gets impacted. So sleep is most important thing. Okay. Second, in terms of your relationships, are you going towards people or going away from them? Generally, when we are emotionally upset, let's say I'm feeling lonely today. So many of students, because of the COVID pandemic, now suddenly they are starting to go for offline classes. They are having a lot of experience of loneliness, right? So then when they feel lonely, what happens is rather than seeking support, rather than telling someone that, okay, can you come over, they go away from social interaction. So one is sleep cycle, second is going away from social interaction, third is appetite. You would also see changes in your eating habits. So you might eat a lot. We call it emotional eating, where you are right, you just want to order from outside. You're sitting with a bag of chips, you're just eating when you're feeling stressed. So too much eating happens, or you're not eating properly. You're just eating for the sake of it. You don't feel full, or you just feel full after having like adi chapati. So changes in appetite. So three important markers. One is sleep. Second is going away from people or your support group. Third is your appetite, right? And most importantly is with reference to what you are thinking. Lot of negative self-talk you would observe in yourself. So you would say things like, I don't think I can manage this anymore. I will not be able to succeed in life. I have tried a lot. I just can't cope with it. So this student of mine who was going through loneliness, he had these patterns of thoughts, which we call negative thoughts, negative self-talk. I can't cope. I can't do it all alone. People are just misunderstanding me. So these are the four important markers that you should consider, you should observe, and you should not let them pass like dekhte hai kya hoga aage. That time we should meet with a psychiatrist also, and even with a psychotherapist. So you should take help during these times.
Right. So sleep, moving away from social interaction, changes in eating pattern, and negative thoughts. These four things are what you have put, and I think put very aptly. Dr. Shetty, what are the kind of patients or clients that you encounter in your practice?
I think much before that, we should address the day-to-day issues of students with respect to mental health. We are not talking about illnesses here. We should be talking about positive mental health. And I'm sure, Shubhaji, you have a lot of experience. You should also share your own experience in fact. Now, again, adding to what my dear friend Asira, who's doing fantastic work in CBT and Indian psychology, all you students should read about her blog, read about her through her blogs. Also, my dear students, I would like to say that suddenly for a long time, say 10 to 15 days, you don't feel interested at all. कुछ अच्छा नहीं लगता यार, कोई जो कल अच्छा लगता था आज मुझे नहीं अच्छा लगता. यार बॉयफ्रेंड से बात करने की भी इच्छा नहीं. Mom says, why are you so? So that is also one of the most important red flags. Number two, also, Siam Dharavi and Switzerland look the same. and this is, though we laugh at this, but this is something which is so important. नहीं मुझे I am numb. लोग हंसते हैं तो मुझे हंसी नहीं आती है, लोग रोते हैं तो मुझे आंसू नहीं आता है. भाई भाग के चले जाओ. Also at times मेरे वजह से ही माँ बहुत दुखी है, मेरे वजह से ही पापा बहुत दुखी है, मैं कुछ काम कर नहीं, मेरे वजह से बहुत तकलीफ होती है और मुझे वर्थलेस लगता है. आई फील मैं कोई काम का नहीं. बिना शर्म के, बिना हिचकिचाहट से सीधे जाके अपने शिक्षक और अपने काउंसलर को जाके बातें करें. इसके अलावा कभी कभी ऐसा लगता है कि मुझे जाना है इस पृथ्वी से, ऐसे एक भी बार विचार आए तो याद रखना, dear students, there are many exams worth living for, no exams worth crying for or dying for. There are many guys worth living for, no guys worth dying for or crying for. सीधे चले जाने. और ब्रेकअप जो है ना, ये कोई बहुत बड़ी बात नहीं. मेरा तो कहना है मेंटल मसल स्ट्रांग होने के लिए 2-3 ब्रेकअप तो होना चाहिए. और ब्रेकअप का मतलब ये नहीं है कि यू आर बैड. जैसे असीरा कहेगी कि अल्बर्ट एलिस ने कहा था कि लव हैज बर्थ, ग्रोथ एंड डेथ. होता है यार, नॉट बिकॉज यू आर बैड. और खुल के लोगों को कहना कि मेरा ब्रेकअप हुआ. और जब आप सुनोगे, व्हेन यू हियर फ्रॉम समबडी दैट आई हैड अ ब्रेकअप, डोंट से आई टोल्ड यू सो. यार हाथ थामना उसका, कॉलेज ले जाना, असाइनमेंट्स हेल्प करना उसका कंप्लीट करने के लिए. रोएगा तो चुपचाप सुनना और बार बार कहेगा इसी कॉफी डे में मैं जा रहा था, सुनना यार. That if you do that, then if you feel that you feel hopeless, worthless, you feel like dying, you feel not interested, you don't feel happy or sad, यार सीधा. और यदि ऐसे लगा, if you feel you don't understand what's happening to you, knock the door of a friendly psychologist or a psychiatrist and पत्रिका दिखाने के लिए मत जाना, कुंडली दिखाने के लिए मत जाना. Along with that, Madam Shubhaji asked me a very important question. देखो, मन का, माइंड का दो चीज हो सकता है. यू कैन हैव अ स्प्रेन ऑफ द माइंड, यू कैन हैव अ फ्रैक्चर ऑफ द माइंड. स्प्रेन यानी मोच, फ्रैक्चर यानी. तो यदि जब फ्रैक्चर होता है, बच्चे मेरे पास क्यों आते हैं? बहुत, they come with different reasons and many kids come and say parents don't understand. हाथ जोड़ के कहता हूँ, पेरेंट्स के काउंसलर्स आप भी हो. Because parents are also in a difficult state. And if kids who learn to negotiate teachers and parents become CEOs, kids who complain against teachers and parents become managers. So a CEO is born in families and colleges. They are not born in MBA schools. They are born in families and colleges. So my dear children, learn the art of negotiating with a difficult teacher and a stressed parent. तो मैं कहता हूँ, यदि आपके बापू गब्बर नहीं है, वो ऑफिस से आते हैं तो एक गिलास पानी पी ले यार, तब पिघल जाएगा. माँ सुबह से शाम तक यदि आपको हेल्प करती है, खाना पकाते, so go and ask her, can I do something for you? And don't just ask, wash your underwears, clean your plates, use the washing machine once in a while. And this is also mental health intervention. Extremely important. Girls and men, not girls, boys. This is also mental intervention. So when you manage your feelings, it's not about sharing, it's not about caring, but it's also about doing. And when children come to me, my dear Shubhaji, they come with complaints that parents don't understand. It's normal in adolescence. कोई समझता नहीं. But at the same time, in this era, hug your parents, hug your mothers, thank them for what they're doing for you all the time, and you'll find your stress going down. But at the same time, some students come and tell me, my dear Shubhaji, कि यार कुछ अच्छा नहीं लगता है, घबराहट बहुत होती है, आगे की बहुत चिंता है. I don't know what will happen to me in the future. A lot of things, and it has been complicated by the pandemic. What is so important, Shubhaji and Anupamaji and Asiraji, can we build emotional resilience in our schools and colleges? And for that, let me give you 4 habits which you have to change right from tonight. आज रात से. यार, phone का use तो करिए. You use your phones, my dear friends. But remember, नींद से खिलवाड़ करोगे ना, भेजा पलटवार करेगा. You will not remember anything in the exams. Don't play around with your brain. To see that, as Asira said beautifully, don't compromise on your sleep, eat healthy. And as Satish ji said, and everybody said, more American kids do yoga than Indian kids data. And yoga is not about retirement plans. Yoga is about from the age of 3 to the 2. So if honestly the department has compulsory yoga, the way you have compulsory marketing subjects, analytics, 15 minutes in the morning before the class starts, it will make a big difference. So my dear friends, I see a lot of children coming with anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts. Yesterday, a young girl in the 12th standard passed away because of self-harm from a very reputed school in the suburbs. Okay, so where life is so valuable here. Life is so valuable. Stay alive. और जब भी तकलीफ हुई ना, लगी पड़ी है बहुत लोगों की. And there is no English translation for this word. And if this happens, my dear friends, please go to your teachers. And for all the teachers who are listening to this show, remember, if somebody comes, I have not done my assignment, बंदूक मत रखना. समझ के लेना. In the COVID era, there are 4 R's which teachers should follow. Number one is reassurance. Intense, deep reassurance. These times are very difficult. नंबर 2 रेमिडिएशन. कुछ घुसता नहीं है अभी ऑनलाइन, जैसे प्रोफेसर देशमुख ने कहा, कुछ घुसता नहीं है. यू विल हैव टू मेक एफर्ट्स. यू हैव टू सी बियॉन्ड योर 7 पे कमीशन सैलरी और योर टाइम जोन्स. 9 बजे पंचिंग, 5 बजे गुल. बियॉन्ड योर टाइम जोन घर पे जाओ यार कुछ बच्चों का. That is a teacher. Good teachers don't make home visit. Great teachers do. And if we are doing reassurance, remediation, and reform, Deshmukh ji will understand that disaster is an opportunity to change your teaching habits. कुछ भी करो, change करो. And the last is what worked in the pandemic while teaching, what did not work. So my dear students, breakups होने वाले हैं. Teachers जब आते हैं ना in the college, induction में बहुत मीठी मीठी बात करते थे. Talks beautifully. It's a great college, darling, they're there for you. But जब कलम हाथ में लेते हैं ना, कलम चलता है तलवार से भी ज्यादा. तो असाइनमेंट्स में कभी कभी कम मार्क्स मिलेंगे. तब ये मत कहना, कैंटीन में बैठ के टीचर को गाली मत देना, ये मेंटल हेल्थ है. जैसे असीरा ने कहा, मेंटल हेल्थ एजुकेशन, मेंटल हेल्थ मूवमेंट, मेंटल हेल्थ मैनेजमेंट. Those who abuse teachers and bosses all their life, they remain where they are. But those who say, my dear teacher, you gave me 4 out of 10, explain to me what can I do to make it great. And never believe that your teacher does not like your face. That is one thought which Asira would agree, which comes to negatively. उससे तो 15 मिनट बात करता है, मेरे से 5 मिनट में मुझे कटाती है. And that point of time, if you believe so, again confront. Anupama ji, madam, you spoke to him for 20 minutes and you finished me at 5 minutes. Am I bad, ma'am? Do I look bad? And if you learn these skills now, it is mental health. So my dear friends, लंबा बोल दिया, पर याद रखना, मेरे पास गाड़ी है, बंगला है, क्लिनिक है, अस्पताल है, तुम्हारे पास माँ है. There's one mother at home, there's another mother at the school and college. Make the best use of them. They love you. They want to actually do a lot for you. That is what it is. Lastly, there are blamers and bloomers. People blame parents, people blame teachers, people blame bosses. They don't grow emotionally or in life. And bloomers are those who find answers.
Wow.
Thank you, Shubha.
Very, very, very well put, Dr. Shetty. I was like completely engrossed and I forgot कि मुझे आगे क्या करना है.
मैंने आप बहुत
Very, very, very well put,
बहुत
sir.
माहिर हो, आपने बहुत काम किया है शुभा जी.
I am so thankful for this, and we will come back and talk about this. You had said from a child's perspective. We will come and talk about the family, as in what parents can do, what teachers can do a little later. But what happens in a situation where there is a panic attack? For example, I have an exam tomorrow and I have studied everything, all is well, absolutely. Suddenly, I realize in the evening that I do not know anything. And I say, no, I can't go because मुझे तो सब भूल गया है, मुझे कुछ याद नहीं है. I cannot. I mean, this is just one example. I'm sure in your practice you encounter a lot of situations. So how do we help, or how do you help as professionals in terms of an episode or a crisis situation? What you do and how can we as community help? So I'll first start with you, then I'll move on to Asira.
Okay. When I was appearing for my SSC, my exam for entering MBBS MD, I always felt that in the morning my head was light and there is nothing inside it. Second thought I would get is, will I remember in the exam? Third thought is, will I get marks in the exam? Fourth is, will my marks help me in the future? Fifth is, will my parents get very unhappy if I actually score very less. By the way, for all the students, panic attack is जब दिल धड़कता है, प्यार में नहीं है, डर से. जब सांस लेने में दिक्कत होती है, when you feel choked, when you feel giddy, and when you feel nahi, I should run away from here. It's impossible, impossible. Number one, how to prevent a panic attack. If you have been maintaining your health from June onwards across time, the probability of panic attacks coming is less. Which means sleep, as Asira said, sleep, exercise, yoga nahi hai, yoga, and managing your emotional hygiene, chance of panic attacks are less. Number two also is sometimes toppers have this problem. I've been talking for all my years, and in the last exam, one girl or one boy got a little more marks than me. And there's anxiety of being on the top all the time, and that also can cause panic attack. Third, you may be having difficulties in your house, and actually because a panic attack can be caused, and the exams are the last straw on the camel. Number four, which is also very important, you have been struggling across these two lockdowns, and from the cage you have been brought to the classroom, and you do not know how to acclimatize. Number five is probably somebody has passed away in your family, in your neighborhood. Your parents may have lost jobs. Your parents may have actually been sick, and these are all social situations which can cause panic. And lastly, there are people who are prone to anxiety. They're more anxious than the others. They're more worried than the others, and these are and so you have to first attempt to prevent. Those who have anxiety management issues, they should start doing a lot of things across time, helping the irrational thoughts to recede and helping rational thoughts to come up through various methods. Number two, practice tests wherein the initial panic, that ignition problem of the car actually goes down, and they're able to start the exam. But students who sleep less in the last 10 days of the exams are more prone to panic attacks. So 5 or 6 things you need to do. Number one, whenever you feel very restless, remember, you can breathe long and hard for some time. You'll find it actually goes away. What will you tell yourself, your self-talk? खुद की बोली क्या है? अंदर की बोली जो है ना, उसको मारने के लिए खुद की बोली, अरे यार मैंने तो पढ़ाई अच्छा किया, मुझे पिछले एग्जाम्स में मार्क्स अच्छा मिला है, ये डर तो मुझे पहले एग्जाम में भी होता था, पर अल्टीमेटली मुझे अच्छा मार्क्स मिला. I mean, you tell these things. There are a lot of things which you can actually tell. You get calm. You get calm. Number three, which is also very important, is do you have to read entire syllabus beforehand? On that night, no. Read as much as you can. So jao, yaar. So jao. And in the morning, to break the panic attack, how your parents wish you is very important. So practice wishing 3 months prior to the panic attack. Let your parents wish you the way Dhoni wishes you. They go and enjoy the game. And not only in your vocal cords, but in your face. मम्मी का एक्सप्रेशन कैसा है, उसको जरा संभालिए, 6 महीने में प्रैक्टिस कराइए, पापा का एक्सप्रेशन, उनके वर्ड्स. That is good. Lastly, also, when you wish profusely, everybody, your anxiety also goes down. But still, if the dhardad is very high, remember to be in touch with your college counselor, psychologist. He or she is the best person for you. And also at times, if किसी ने आप गोली दिया ना, तो ऐसे हटाओ मत. मलेरिया होती है तो खुद होके आप खाते हैं ना, तो कभी भाजी पोली गोली, if required, you might take temporarily something which will bring a panic attack. And lastly, the more papa figure in the college is the teacher or the principal or the director. And if he or she is accessible, go to him. Sir, 30 padi hai, I'm really very scared. No, some words in Hindi can never be translated. and I'm so scared. Please help me. And one reassurance from Anupama ji or from Satish ji or from other professors and a pat on the back kills the panic attack. And inside your classroom, before the exam starts, 1 minute of pranayama. Between 2 questions, 1 minute of pranayama. And also what is very important is, do not believe your teacher who says, Pura question paper padho, kaiko, kashala, koi zarurat nahi boss. क्वेश्चन पेपर तो ये भी नहीं आता है, वो भी तकलीफ. पेपर हाथ में आया ना, क्वेश्चन 3 आता है, and you start writing the dhabdaba, the waterfall opens. Ultimately, what is exam? Book to the brain, brain to the pen. Book to the brain is an anti-gravity exercise. Brain to the pen is a pro-gravity exercise. If you enhance that, things will go. And if you have an underlying depression, if you have learning disabilities, if other issues, see that you're in touch with your teacher and the counselor. I'm sorry for this long answer.
No, sir. Please. We are here to listen to you and learn and imbibe whatever we can in this.
No, Asira has a lot to offer. I would hold my horses back and will listen to Asira ji also.
I will now move on to you, Mr. Mullay, for your thoughts on this.
I think Sir has mostly covered most of the points and so nicely, and he's talking in a very relatable manner, so that will help all the students for sure. But just because I am a CBT practitioner, cognitive behavior therapy, I would like to answer this question from CBT point of view.
Yes.
Now, what is CBT? For all the students here, psychotherapy is about hitting mental gym. We all go to physical gym to build a physical muscle, right? Psychotherapy is where you go to a mental gym. Every day you have to go to that mental gym and build a mental muscle. What Sir was talking about, resilience. How will you build resilience without doing something, without trying to exercise? So coming to a mental gym is psychotherapy. Just using any equipment, just seeing an equipment like treadmill को देखा सिर्फ, पर उसके ऊपर चल नहीं रहे हो आप, तो you will not have any change within yourself. So in psychotherapy also what we do, we help students to develop these skills. तो psychotherapist के पास जाना मतलब कुछ गड़बड़ ही है, कुछ दिमाग में गड़बड़ है, इसलिए मैं जा रहा हूँ. This approach needs to be changed. We firmly believe at our center also, and Sir would agree with me, that psychotherapy is for prevention, change and transformation.
Absolutely.
Psychotherapy is not just for mental illness. I'm sure Sir को जब problem होता है, मुझे जब problem होता है, we go to someone. We have someone to go to. ऐसा नहीं कि हम दोनों को कुछ problem ही नहीं होता है. Now Sir is like a master in what he's doing.
I go all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yes, sir. So we need to first normalize coming to a counselor. तो ये पहला दिमाग में आपको रखना है, normalize. You're going to a coach. This should be the approach. Secondly, what you can do with yourself. देखो रोज हम दूसरों के बारे में इतना सोचते हैं, हम सबको बीमारी है कि नहीं, लोग क्या कहेंगे, सबको बीमारी है, पर हम खुद से क्या कहते हैं, इसमें कुछ भी टाइम हम डालते नहीं है. So I would tell all students, आज से एक simple practice करो. 5 minutes sit with yourself. And जो भी दिमाग में thoughts आते हैं ना, thought मतलब क्या, some ideas about the future or about the past which don't help you. इसलिए उनको negative बोलते हैं, क्योंकि वो आपका कुछ भला नहीं करते हैं. तो sit 5 minutes, write down जो भी thoughts आपको आते हैं. इससे क्या होगा? This we call journaling. This is called as thought journaling. Now what happens when you write down these thoughts? Firstly, दिमाग की घंटी बजती है. मतलब क्या? Awareness. You get a lot of awareness. Okay, this is what I'm thinking to myself. You also understand कि जो हो रहा है वो तो होने ही वाला है, right? You cannot change the triggers, but you can change how you think about the trigger. ट्रिगर मतलब क्या? My ma'am didn't speak to me. जैसे सर ने एक ट्रिगर के बारे में बोला कि मैम is not speaking to me, और सबके सामने मुझे डांट दिया मैम ने, और I got low grades, और मुझे I don't know which career I want to choose. All these are triggers. But what are you thinking about them? इसको भी notice करो. उसके लिए 5 minutes sit with your thoughts. Now after you sit, what you will do? First thing, negative thoughts हर इंसान को आते हैं. Normalize negative thoughts. So many students I see, when they come in the session, they are like, why am I thinking like this? This why itself is a major problem. You got to normalize it. Mind जहाँ पे है वहाँ पे thoughts है. I read a very beautiful interpretation by a saint of Chinmaya Mission, and he said that mind is flow of thoughts. So जहाँ पे flow of thoughts है, you will have ups and downs both. That's why when you get negative thoughts, don't panic about them. Normalize them. After you normalize, you scan them. So 2 techniques I'm teaching all of you today. One is normalize negative thoughts, write them down on a piece of paper, and third is scan these thoughts. Scan means what? If you go to, like, whenever we travel internationally, वो scan होता है ना, scanner, वो body scan करते हैं हमारी, right? When we are traveling to any international place or even domestic में, first they scan to see कि कुछ problem नहीं है ना. So thoughts are like, you know, some people, probably you can take thoughts as some difficult people. हमारे घर पे कैसे safety door होता है? We all have safety door at the house. Why? Because we are not going to let anyone come inside. We will check through the safety door कि भाई शुभा मैम को बुलाना है कि नहीं. You know, is she going to be really of any benefit to me? Right? Is there no harm? So we check that. तो हमारे mind में भी we have to keep a safety door. And that safety door is the scan technique. So what is scan? First is, S stands for, ask yourself, okay, ki whatever I am thinking, you know, is it, see if your thought is a fact or a feeling. Most of our thoughts, like I am going to fail, is a feeling. We think, we feel like that. It is not a fact. Fact is what which is universally proven. Like law of gravity, it is a fact. Whether you are in China, India, Indonesia, whether you are feeling low, high, law of gravity will apply everywhere. So it's a fact. So ask yourself, is my thought, see if your thought is a fact or a feeling. Because mostly they are guided by feelings. And as Rumi said, feelings are visitors. They come, they go. They come, they go. So if you make decisions on feelings, you're going to head for a trouble. So if you make a permanent decision on a temporary, you know, issue, obviously there's going to be a problem. So first important is, see if your thought is a feeling or a fact. C, the next C stands for, count your progress with your setbacks. This applies to all parents also and all teachers also. Whenever you see a kid or whenever a child, you know, an adolescent is seeing himself, count both. Kitna progress I'm doing in life every day. What am I doing good at? And also count your setbacks. What happens with us? We are only counting our setbacks, or we are too much busy in counting our progress. So either there is too much of overconfidence or there is underconfidence. That's why both you have to do. Count your setbacks and count your progress. Okay? A. The next A stands for, look at situations from alternative perspectives. Means what? Rather than seeing एक ही side, हम हमारा एक problem ऐसा भी होता है, we only see situations through our mindset, right? So let's say one student tells me that, you know what, she broke up with me, and he would only look at it from that one point of view. Maybe मैं अच्छा नहीं दिखता, I'm very unattractive. But what if the students look at that breakup through other perspectives? Oh, she didn't want she didn't want to date a doctor. She was not ready for commitment right now. So look at that situation from alternative perspectives. Have rainbow thinking, not black and white thinking. Right now we have black and white thinking. Either things are all good or all bad. Think in rainbow manner, means alternative. So first is what? See if your thought is a fact or a feeling. Then count your progress and setbacks neutrally in both ways. Third is, think of situations alternatively. Don't get into only black and whites. And the last point, N, need to weigh pros and cons of your thoughts. हर चीज का we evaluate pros and cons. I'm sure before you register for this webinar, you must have done a pro and cost benefit analysis. What will happen if I join this webinar? Why should I waste my Women's Day on this 1.5 hour session? What will I get in return? Pros अच्छे होंगे इसलिए you have all joined. I'm sure about that. So think about this even when it comes to your thought. Okay, this thought came in my mind. I'm not going to be successful. Okay, what are the pros of this thought? Nothing. What are the costs of this thought? Plenty. So if you know something is costing you, you wouldn't invest in it that much. You will observe it, but you won't invest in it. So this is something which is very important. Normalize negative thoughts and scan your negative thoughts, then look outside. So a very beautiful quote that I heard is, change your outlook and then look out. So this is not mine, this is by Swami Tejomayananji, who is of Chinmaya Mission. And this is what CBT is. Change your outlook and then look up.
Beautiful, very beautifully put. Wow. So ask yourself whether it's a thought or a feeling. Count your progress in terms of your setbacks as well as in terms of your progress. Look at situations not in black and white, but in a rainbow fashion, and evaluate pros and cons of each situation. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this, Asira. So this is all about what we can do. How do you handle expectations? Expectations from people, from parents, from teachers, uh, from people in general. How does one do that? I'm bringing this question to both of you. So, Dr. Shetty,
Asira, you go.
whoever wants to go in first.
Asira is good at all this. Very good. Difficult questions, Asira. Yeah.
No, sir, please, you share your perspective, then I'll.
Okay. See, when you are doing your MBA, there are many expectations. Will I get the package? I don't understand this package business, but it is there. I mean, it's a fact. Will I get package as much as him or her? Is the placement cell honest to me? If I get a job, they will not allow me to go for interview for other job. How can I get into the placement cell? Is also a big issue. Then, if I get a job, if my girlfriend gets a job somewhere else, what will I do? If I get a job, then is it equal to what my first cousin who did his MBA from some other college? So a lot of things come up, a lot of things come up. And these are very normal, as Asiraji said, each one of us gets this thought. It's important to normalize the thought. But what is also very important is life is about cumulative activity. It's not about आज मैंने किया ये मुझे मिल गया. And along with the cumulative activity, are you learning? Let me share after this interaction, I will suddenly some thoughts will come up and say, I should have done this, I should have said this, and that becomes part of me, and I slowly grow. Also, one line on the side is all those who have bunked this talk. My dear friends, call them up just now and ask them to join immediately. This is a great conversation.
Yeah.
So when you actually do your best, and as Bhagavad Gita also, I'm listening to Swami Swatmananda. He is part of the Chinmay mission very regularly. And ultimately, what it is, you go on doing your Nishkam Karma. You just go on trying your best across time. And when you try your best across time and you learn every day, what happens is you rise without you knowing that you're disciplined. You become more compassionate without knowing that you become more compassionate. You are a better leader and you're able to tackle people in a much, much better manner. And the point is also when you say expectation, do you want to live in the visiting card? Is visiting card you or you are the visiting card? Or is it part of your life? Is it an appendage of your life? As you rise, when people say, "Tum itna hi mila package, usko itna mila, aapne kya kiya?" At that point of time, as Asira said, scan that thought, evaluate that thought, and it is so important to not to allow the thoughts from outside to pollute your mind and to stay inside your mind. Because if you actually scan and move ahead, you'll be reasonably comfortable with yourself and say, I will continue doing what I think is good for me. I will continuously learn from what I am doing is good for me. And then you'll find expectations are managed. You are peaceful within. Ultimately, don't chase happiness and bucks. Chase peace. Happiness is a byproduct of peace. Very, very important for us to understand. And what happens is you slowly move up. When you slowly move up, you'll find that many people stop talking to you. No worry at all. They'll come back to you after some time. When you slowly move ahead and move up, you'll find that people who have been good to you when you were small, they leave you when you're big. And people who are there when you're big, they were not there when you were small. So these things happen. But ultimately, your mind management is, I will always evaluate the thoughts which have been thrown into my psyche I will scan those thoughts and I will evaluate myself to be what is good and bad. But at the same time, even if you do REBT on yourself, even if you do CBT on yourself, you need a safe space wherein you can be emotionally nude. Then you can say, यार मैंने इंटरव्यू दिया पर उसे 18 लाख का पैकेज मिला, मुझे 14 लाख का पैकेज मिला. You need a place where you can actually throw your black humor and say what you feel. Oxford English, Oxford Hindi, whatever you can use. You can't be a pure individual who's always right all the time. So once in a while, if you're wrong, and if you have a safe space where you're hugged for whatever you are and whoever you are, that also gives you a buffer to manage expectation. But when you start looking down upon yourself, and when you start saying, I'm not good, so I did not get the job, he is better. No, you may have answered the interview better, but you may have more depth in your work. That will only be visible as time passes. You cannot never stop the sun from shining. The clouds will always stop it temporarily. But if you are constantly evaluating, improving, and moving up in the ladder, in your understanding of your subject in your life, you find you will be a great human being as well as good professional. And all colleges which has dil and skill. Dil means teachers who absorb all the students in their hub. Teachers who create a trance state in the class. And skill, high-end teachers who are able to give you concepts which are really great. And teachers who constantly learn from you. And when you have these combinations, expectations are not very difficult to manage. But at the same time, one day may be bad. Huh? Yeah, you may be burdened and showered with that one thought which gives rise to chain of thought. So let it be and sleep over it. There is no need to resolve every difficult thought. Some thoughts dissolve. And when you do yoga, it also dissolves. And if you do vipassana, also dissolves. My dear students, the greatest two mental health professionals on this earth has been Patanjali Rishi and Gautam Buddha. Look at their lives. Look what they have actually given us. You will learn a lot in not only managing expectations, but in managing life. When you manage life, you manage everything beautifully.
Right. Wow. Beautiful. Asira, I will move on to you for this. Before that, you've talked about CBT and Dr. Shetty mentioned REBT. So just give us a little brief about REBT as well, so that children can understand this better. They will obviously can go to your site and understand it. But if you just give a brief on REBT, it'll be very nice, and then we can go ahead with this.
Just briefly talking about REBT, very briefly. So REBT is again a form of psychotherapy. जैसे मैंने आपको बोला, this is different equipment in the mental gym, right? It's another equipment in the mental gym that you go to. Now, what is rational emotive behavior therapy? Again, very famous quote by Dr. Albert Ellis, who is the founder of rational emotive behavior therapy, and he says that people and events do not disturb us. Okay? People and events do not disturb us. We disturb ourselves by thinking that they can disturb us. This is rational emotive behavior therapy, that we disturb ourselves by thinking irrationally. So password, if you want to be miserable, anytime misery if you want is equal to irrational thinking. So if you think irrationally, you will get ATM card, anytime misery. Rational thinking is what? It is password for excellence. So what Sir was talking about expectations, and he said that do not be so hard on yourself. Accept that you have limitations. So rational thinking is a flexible form of thinking which inspires you, which helps you preserve your own self and move towards excellence. So REBT says anytime misery is irrational thinking, password for excellence is rational thinking. In short. And what we have to do is, we have to take a shift. We have to make this shift from our irrational thinking to rational thinking, and then change even our behaviors. So So the simple technique, if I have to tell you, of rational emotive behavior therapy, now that you're asking me about it, and it would be very helpful for students as well, is understand which are irrational thoughts. Which are irrational thoughts? So irrational thoughts are thoughts which make you stuck in a situation. STUCK, five irrational thoughts. Those who, which thoughts that help you stay stuck in the present situation. So the first S stands for should thinking. Should thinking is what? When you put pressure on yourself, I should achieve this goal, I should get this placement, I should be able to get this package, I should be able to make my parents proud. Should thinking is irrational because you cannot fulfill every expectation of yours. So we are not saying stop expecting, but do not get into unrealistic expectations. So S is what? Should thinking. T is what? When you say that things are going to be horrible always, when you horribilize thoughts or when you horribilize situations. So the T stands for thinking in a horribilizing way. Oh, I got only 80%. This is the end of the world. Oh, I failed in this interview. This is the end of the world. So when you think of situations as end of the world, Bhayankarikaran in Marathi we say, when you get into Bhayankarikaran, when you look at things as end of the world, that is thinking horribly. So first S is what? Should thinking, where you put pressure. T is what? When you think horribly about situations. U is what? When you label yourself and others. खुद को हम ऐसे लेबल डालते हैं. We buy Zara clothes, H&M clothes. So उनकी लेबल का already रहती है clothes पे. But interestingly, humans keep labeling themselves and others also. Oh, you are so irresponsible. I am such an incompetent person. Life is so miserable. Life is meaningless. Right? So when you get into these labels on yourself and on others, mostly I've seen students getting into labels of incompetence. I'm incompetent, I'm a failure, I'm a fool, I'm ugly, I'm unattractive, I'm no good. Stop labeling yourself. Label just your actions. Do not label yourself. When Lord Arjuna went to Lord Krishna for advice, Lord Krishna didn't say, you're such a fool. You know, itna apne sikha, and now you're asking me. Lord Krishna didn't say this because Shri Krishna, I believe, is the most amazing psychotherapist. Because what he did, he first compassionately just listened to him, like how Sir said, that I really agree with that point. He said, हमेशा सब thought भी आप evaluate मत करो. Listen compassionately. और यही हमें भगवान श्री कृष्ण जी भी सिखा रहे हैं in भगवत गीता. So what is important is to not label yourself and others. That is you. Then the next C is for catch the future game. Means don't get caught up in negative predictions. हम तो खुद एस्ट्रोलॉजर्स के जैसे बन गए आज. अरे ये तो नहीं अच्छा जाने वाला है. मैं तो आगे नहीं बढ़ने वाली हूँ. मेरा तो कुछ मुझे लाइफ में कोई मिलने ही नहीं वाला है. ये कैसे पता आपको? डू यू हैव सम क्रिस्टल बॉल जहाँ पे आपको आपका फ्यूचर दिखता है? No, we don't. We cannot see our future. So we are caught up in negative predictions. That is the C. That's the next irrational thought. And the last key, the K stands for we keep getting carried away by our emotions. I feel bad today, इसलिए कुछ गड़बड़ होगी दिन में. This is most common with anxiety clients. I feel that this is going to be a bad day, so it's going to be bad. How do you know? Again, feelings are temporary. I feel stupid, so I am stupid. I feel underconfident, so I am underconfident. Boss, give that feeling 10 minutes, you will feel like Hrithik Roshan in the next 10 minutes.
Or like Asira.
Or like me. Hopefully that's a good feeling. So the stuck, this is what REBT is. Understand your stuck thoughts. S stands for should thinking. T is thinking horribly. U is you label yourself and others. C is we get caught up in negative predictions, and the K stands for we keep getting carried away by our emotions.
Right.
In short.
Very, very beautifully put. And I think the students will find it so much easier to relate. So the way I've heard this entire discussion is that
थोड़ा मेंटल इलनेस बात करेंगे, थोड़ा ये बात करेंगे, वो बात करेंगे, ऐसे नहीं हुआ.
Absolutely. So it's okay to say you are not okay. You are human, not a machine. In fact, even machines need oiling and service. So it's fine to just take a step back. We lead complicated lives, and anxiety and stress have become a part and parcel of who we are. While they will be with you in whatever you do, your studies, your projects, your life experiences, like Dr. Shetty put in very briefly and so beautifully about heartbreaks. The key is not to allow them to take over you. Let them be there in the back seat while you navigate your life. And if you feel you're experiencing difficulties with your thoughts, feelings, or behavior, help is available. So do not hesitate to seek professional advice, because that is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of strength. It indicates that you want to feel better and are willing to take that step towards positivity of life. I think there are a couple of questions, and we have about 12-15 minutes. So I would request Dr. Anupama Tiwari to take on from here and take the questions which are coming in the chat box. So over to you, Dr. Anupama.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for this moderation. I have one question that I would like to ask to Dr. Shetty. We have seen that some celebrities have come to forefront and shared about their mental health to him. Do you think this helps break down the stigma surrounding mental illness? Why and why not?
Absolutely. I think it really breaks two important stigmas. About mental health, that is one. And second, celebrities are also as vulnerable as you and me. So these are the two. But I would like to add here also for all my lovely, lovely students. Remember these 2 years or 3 years of MBA, whatever, 2 years of your MBA, whatever you're doing. Mine gold from every conversation. Don't label teachers, as Asira said. Don't label teachers. Any teacher who's teaching has something new to actually teach. So keep your antennas absolutely open and understand that kahin se bhi gyan aa sakti hai. Gyan Shakti kahin se bhi aa sakta hai. It can come from a mosquito around you, it can come from any teacher. So great students who are aware know how to mine gold from every conversation, and every celebrity, including Virat Kohli and many others, so many of them are my good friends, have really contributed to the mental health movement. And by the way, Anupama ji, as I've said before, every student is a brand, every student is a celebrity. And if you have any of these issues, come out and help others break the stigma, and I think that is so important.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. We have one question for Asira ma'am. That is that I just read the question. Can you give tips for performance anxiety before exam in your nutshell style?
Okay, now performance anxiety is basically, again, when you insist on getting success. So any kind of insistence will lead to bleeding. So Dr. Albert Ellis used to say needing leads to bleeding. Needing means what? Insistence. Ki I need to perform well. So don't get into any needing kind of an attitude. Get into more preferential attitude. Preferential thoughts rakho dimag mein. Ki preferential means what? That I really want to succeed, I want to give my best, but ये कोई ऐसा compulsion मैं खुद को नहीं करूँगा. So do not have insistence, just expect from yourself, that you will do good. Second, please enjoy the journey of learning, the journey of performing. Let's say me and Dr. Harish Shetty sir, if we sit here with that performance kind of a pressure, and I am like really in front of him, I am nothing, to be very honest with you, right? So if I say
mat bolna yaar.
No, I'm being realistic, sir. That comes from the high regard that we have for you.
I've learned so much from you all the time.
That's sure, sir. But I'm just saying that if I think like this, that okay, I need to be the best because Harish Shetty sir is going to be here. I need to be the best. I will not remember anything. I won't be even able to utter a single word. I'm giving my personal example here. Because needing only will lead to problem. So how I'm sitting in this conversation, I'm going to give my best because I want to enjoy this performance. I want to enjoy conversing with students. I want to share my thoughts. That's it. So enjoy the journey and don't be so much recklessly thinking about the destination. And third is you don't have to prove your worth to anyone.
Yeah.
You don't have to prove your worth to anyone because anyway you are a limited being. So worth kya prove karna hai? We all are limited in some or the other way. So embrace your limitations and do not get into this proving worth business. Simple.
That's great, ma'am. We have to embrace our limitations.
Yeah.
And that will give contentment. So, ma'am, one question. We have been speaking about the therapy, and as Dr. Shetty and you have mentioned. But when do we feel that there is necessity of introducing drug and or medicine for them?
I think this question, Dr. Harish Shetty sir is the expert on that. So we can give the question to him.
Yes, sir. Please.
Before that, I would like to add a small data point, which is very, very important on World Women's Day. Number one is there's been 10% increase in suicides in 2020 as compared to 1 year before, and that is also because of COVID. Second is 1 out of 3 people who end their life because of family problems, and 1 out of 6 people who end their lives are housewives, and this is something which we need to really look at. Well, it is so important to understand that there is sprain in the mind and there is fracture. When there is a sprain, therapy is important. And when there is pain, which means you do not have major mental illness and you do not have severe depression, moderate to severe depression, moderate to severe anxiety. If you have major mental illness like bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, you need to take medications. Counseling and psychotherapy can be very useful for issues which have caused a lot of concern, but issues have not really been so big that it is a major mental illness as of now. And those who suffer from major mental illness also can also seek counseling and therapy as an adjuvant when you are taking medications. So therapy can be standalone, therapy can be with medications, depending upon the individual needs of patients, which is very important, and that can only be decided by a very engaging, very reasonable, very rational conversation between the psychologist and the psychiatrist. Sometimes the psychologist plays a very important role, sometimes the psychiatrist plays a very important role, and both complement their work in terms of patient care.
Thank you, sir. We have one question that has come that my friend is obese, suffering from obesity, and because of that, some hormonal issue, and is so conscious about it that she doesn't go out or meet people. She has been discontinuing her further studies. So, how can I help? So, this question can be answered by sir as well as ma'am. Anybody can take up. Sir, can you please?
No, Asira has not answered for a long time, so I would want to hear a voice in the views.
Yes, yes.
So, see, one thing this friend was asking for help, I would first suggest this friend that you just play a role of an active listener. Just listen to what she's going through, okay?
With all 6 senses, no? With all 6 senses.
With all 6 senses, yeah. So, be a good listener. Please do not give her any advice, any suggestion. Don't think like this, you are very beautiful. Please do not get into any advice giving because that puts the patient off. So you listen actively to her, be very empathetic, use statements like I understand what you're going through, I'll try to listen to you, I'm trying to be with you. So try to be empathetic, actively listen to her, but most importantly is direct her to a counselor or a psychotherapist because the friend cannot do a job of a psychotherapist. A friend will only be a friend where he is very sympathetic towards the friendship, towards the friend. So he's not in the best position to be objective. So you be a good listener, understand what she's going through, and change, shift her focus to, can we together go to the appointment with a counselor. I've heard it helps to manage your emotions. It is just like going to a mental gym. So normalize with her going to therapy. You could go with her, you could find good contacts for her and encourage her to take therapy. Okay, these are the three things. And four things in general for people who are going through body image issues, like I am obese or I am too thin, I'm too skinny. One important way to think differently about it is physical appearance is one part of who you are. So we need to understand that I am not my body. Body is one part of me. I have so many other compartments and factors which make me. So I have body, I have my intellect, I have my friends, I have my social circle, I have my culture, I have my ambitions, I have my unfinished ambitions. All these together is you. So if your body is going through some issues, just look at it from that one point of view, and do not get into this thought that I'm my body.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. We have a question coming to Dr. Shetty, that some people say that ADHD and depression are being overdiagnosed and overtreated. You take in it, sir, and also how to differentiate between a sprain and a fracture.
Well, it is not overdiagnosed. In India, it is grossly underdiagnosed. Grossly. And ADD, that is just inattention, is so grossly underdiagnosed that when you treat it properly, you find that the performance of the child and the student improves. Depression may be used by a lot of people now because awareness is improving, and this buzzword is good. I think this is the buzzword, which is very good, and then you can always differentiate between depression and demoralization or disappointments. So, my dear teachers, it is not overdiagnosed. Number one. Number two, what is important for the girl students here, or for all students, we all say कि मैंने दिल खोल के प्यार किया. I think that दिल खोल के प्यार करना is not enough. आंखें खोल के प्यार करो. Open your eyes and see that you are very, very, very rational. And also very important is so many girls have left MBA because they fell in love, or their marks dropped because they fall in love. So very important to understand that rise in love. And if you do not rise in love and if your marks don't improve, then there's no love. Number three, which is also very important, is वो प्यार क्या है जिससे पढ़ाई का त्याग करना पड़े. मॉम विल से अमीर के पास सीधा आप यूएसए का एक प्रपोजल करो. Unless you stand on your feet, unless you earn a salary and you keep your salary with yourself all your life without giving the passwords of the bank to your husband or to your mother or your father-in-law. Extremely important for the girls to protect money, because money is an emotion and money is also important for your life. And so that's what it is, Anupama.
Thank you so much, sir. So now, any final piece you'd like to say for the student before we wind up the session and go for vote of thanks? Sir, can you address with anything like a message?
Asir has been quiet for a long time.
Any message in 2 lines, if you can have, for the students' benefit?
I don't know any message, but I would definitely like to say a shairi which I really like. And sir really likes to have, Hindi dialogues and all. He's very metaphoric. I love that about him. So I'm sure sir is going to come up with something. But before he comes up with something, I really like this shairi. कि जिंदगी भर मैंने यही भूल की और करता रहा. जिंदगी में मैं यही भूल करता रहा. धूल तो चेहरे पे थी पर आईना साफ करता नहीं. So I think that's what is important to learn. कि rather than saying कि इसको blame करो, उसको blame करो, government को blame करो, इनको blame करो, मम्मी को blame करो, पढ़ाई को blame करो. Let's start with self change.
Absolutely.
And then let's walk the path.
Absolutely. And I remember what Shah Rukh Khan said in Devdas, though the context was different. And the word is खुद को खोने से पहले खुद से मिलना चाहता हूँ. So being awareness is something is very important. He said something else in one other movie, and he said मैं उनमें से हूँ जो पीछे झाँक के नहीं देखता. let's look ahead all the time. And wonderful students, I have so much faith in you guys. You are much better than what we were at that age.
Sure.
And India is at the
Absolutely.
threshold of a great tomorrow. And you are the architects. You are the architects.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. That's indeed a very inspiring thought and motivation for our students from a great leader and people like you. I let's have one short things to Dr. Satish Mehta, sir, our director. Sir, any question from your side to our panelists, sir? Mehta, sir?
No, it has been a very, very informative and inspiring conversation. And I am very happy that we had this session today.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So over to Apurva for vote of thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. I would like to continue with vote of thanks. A warm and graceful good morning to our respected and most distinguished guest of the
We
day.
can't see you, Apurva.
I have kept my camera on, sir.
Can we pin her to the screen? That way everyone can see her.
Sorry?
Yeah, you can ping to your screen.
Now we can see you. Now we can see you. Yeah, Apurva.
Yeah. Am I visible?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, sir. I would like to start again. A warm and graceful good morning to our respected and most distinguished guest of the day, respected directors, honorable professors, and everyone present here. I, Apurva Padikar, deem it a great honor and privilege to propose vote of thanks on behalf of the Vivekanand Education Society on this special day. I would like to mention our deep sense of appreciation for Dr. Harish Shetty for his meaningful explanation on the mental health of youth. Further, we are grateful to Dr. Asiya Mullay for her demonstrations about her valuable insights on mental health. I may like to express our sincere thanks to Dr. Shubha Raina ma'am, who was the moderator for the event, for giving her precious time and giving excellent coverage towards mental health. The seminar was worthy in true sense. We got to know about the importance of mental health and mental issues, problems such as anxiety, stress, depression, loneliness, overthinking, and how to deal with it in a positive way. Mind management, how to improve our mental well-being, and more of such informative knowledge will really help us in the future. My heartfelt thanks to our directors, Dr. Satish Mehta and Dr. Satish Deshmukh sir, for giving us their precious time and wisdom. Extend my gratitude to Dr. Sandeep Bharadwaj sir, who is our Dean Academic, for guiding us through the process and help us arrange the event. Thank you so much, sir. A special thanks to Dr. Bhavna Raina ma'am and Dr. Anupama Tiwari ma'am for their valuable contribution. Extend my thanks to the faculty of WESM and BBS for sparing their time for the event. Further, I acknowledge the creative team, the IT team, the marketing team, and WDC cell members for their support and cooperation in organizing this event. I must thank Dipesh Jain and Kusum Rupani for their help in making necessary arrangements for the event. Finally, I appreciate the invitees for their presence in the meeting. Once again, I thank you all for your cordial cooperation and presence in the meeting. Thank you. We will join for the next meet at 12 p.m.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Apurva. Thank you, Harish Shetty, sir. And
You're on mute if you're saying
I
something.
thank Satish ji for seeing that this happens. Shubha ji for that lovely moderation. We would like to meet you again. Someday. Anupama ji for chasing us all the time. My God.
thank you, sir. Thank you for being, and thank you that you have been pushing me to make it successful and saying that मुझे ना सुनने की आदत नहीं है. So that inspired me for making it YouTube.
That is from a movie. It's from a movie, Guru.
So
Thank you, Asira. And what a wonderful learning for me from Asira. My God.
Absolutely.
कम से कम एक बात तो याद रहेगी कि चेहरा साफ कर लेंगे, आईना साफ करने के
Okay, that's really good. But I just wanted to make a correction. I'm not a doctor. I'm a psychotherapist. So please make this correction.
yes, sure, we
Much
have
bigger
done,
than a
but
doctor.
student, no, we have a tendency of saying because we have more doctorates
Right.
under the supervision of Dr. Satish
Right.
Mehta, sir. He is
Right.
a true leader and inspiration for us. He make us do PhD and always under his guidance we are always succeeding in life.
And Kusum for really introducing me and Asira to the
Yes.
college Kusum. Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much to Kusum, and thank you, sir. It's been an honor. On Women's Day, I think this was my gift from all of you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, sir. It's an honor that he has graced this occasion, and Mode sir,
Yes.
who has given us this platform, Sachin sir, who has given us platform. Sandeep sir has been a great, motivation, and he has helped us to do this program. I'm thankful to all the team.
And the IT guys who are generally the anesthetist in a surgical operation. उनके बिना तो कुछ नहीं चलता है.
Absolutely. Especially last 2 years, we've realized how much it means.
Yes.
With the kind of handicaps that all of us have. Yes. At least I do.
Thank you, Asira. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Asira. It's been an absolute pleasure to be a part of this panel, and I look forward to interacting with you more.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.